May I have your attention, please? Welcome to our 2020 Veterans Day program. Please stand, remove your caps for the posting of the colors by the American Legion Post 20 of Fort Pierre. Please remain standing for the national anthem played by Stanley County High School Band, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Amy and Rochelle Johnson. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you. At this time, I am pleased to introduce Mr. Daniel Hoy, our Stanley County School District Superintendent. Mr. Hoy will provide us with the welcome address. Mr. Hoy.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon. It is my privilege to welcome you this afternoon to the 2019 Veterans Day program in Parkview Gymnasium. Veterans Day has always been a day for us to honor those who have served our country in wartime or in peacetime, a day to recognize those veterans with us and those who have passed. It is a day that is largely intended to thank living veterans for their sacrifices. I would like to recognize the following people for their tireless and behind-the-scenes work that helped to make this afternoon the blessing that it is. I would ask that the individual members stand and remain standing until we can express our appreciation to you. Sherry Beagley, Scott Bethke, Kim Jacobs Bowman, Danette Cronin, Rick Cronin, Tina England, Wyatt Johnson, Jim Cutshaw, Terry Melhoff, Cassandra Mraz, Lorraine Natvig, Karen Ritchie, Maria Scott, Mona Smith, and Shirley Johnson. Shirley Swanson, I'm sorry, Shirley Swanson. you Swanson. Thank you, guys. About a month ago, when I was notified that I would be delivering the welcome portion of our program, my thoughts centered around what I might say, what words or stories I could perhaps draw upon. I arrived at the following and will end with the following. The words are paraphrased from my cousin, Jolene Philo, who is a writer and a retired educator. They appeared in an article she wrote years back giving thanks on Veterans Day to her uncles, one of whom is my dad. Dear uncles and aunts, moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, sisters, brothers, sons and daughters, and students, our thanks for your service is not enough, but it is all that we have to give. Thank you for fighting for our freedom. Because of you, our shared family histories continue. Because of your sacrifice, our family is able to reunite in the summer to reminisce about old memories and to create new ones. Because of you, little children play without fear. Because of you, elderly men and women are cared for and safe. Because of you, we live in peace. Because of you, we are who we are. Because of you, we are blessed. Because of you. Veterans, thank you. And to all, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Hoy. Now you are in for a treat as we enjoy the kindergarten, first and second graders, as they sing, "This Land is Your Land." Your A Grand Old Flag will be performed by grades 3 through 5 afterward. Thank you, students. You did a very nice job. Timber Wright, one of our Stanley County students, will introduce our next speaker. Timber?
Good afternoon. My name is Timber Wright, and I am a senior here at Stanley County High School. I would like to introduce my uncle Jata Anglada and his wife Maddie Anglada. He is here to honor our veterans and was enlisted in the Marines himself. Jata is a traditional dancer and singer. He will perform 2 songs for us today. The first song will be a Veterans Vietnam Honor Song, and the second song is a victory song called the Lakota Flag Song.
Okay, the flag song is like an equivalent to our national anthem. The words translate to under the staff or flag, we will prosper. And then the veteran song that I will be singing for the Vietnam veterans. And if you could, please stand for the Lakota national anthem. And the next song will be because we have several veterans, several wars that we fought. We fought in every conflict, and this land is our land, this land is your land. So, we fought in everything, and we have songs for every war. So today I would like to honor the veterans. Thank you.
Thank you both so much. We are now delighted to present our keynote speaker for this year. Mr. Mike Melhoff Jr. grew up in Pierce, South Dakota, and is a 1996 graduate of T.F. Riggs High School. After graduation, Mike served as an 88M in the United States Army and was stationed at Fort Lewis, Washington, Fort Irwin, California, and Fort Polk, Louisiana. He was honorably discharged in the summer of 2000 and returned home to South Dakota to attend college at Black Hills State. Mike worked for many local businesses before working for the state of South Dakota as a fraud investigator in the Division of Motor Vehicles. Mike is married to Terry Melhoff, our elementary principal. They have a 9-year-old son, Johnny Cash, who is a 3rd grade student at Stanley County. Mr. Melhoff.
Thank you. Well, as you mentioned, I am married to the elementary school principal here in Fort Pierre, Stanley County. And so this speech is a punishment for something that I did or will do. I haven't figured that out exactly yet. Actually, I'm just kidding. That was what I'm being punished for, what I just said right now. As mentioned, I served as an 88 Mike, a motor transport operator in the United States Army. I served from 1996 to 2000, which was a time of relative peace in the United States as far as the military was concerned. I was stationed at Fort Lewis. I never left the continental United States. I am no war hero, and I have no exciting war story to tell you. My military career is probably one of the least exciting in the history of our nation. I'm not able to regale you with tales of my heroic exploits, but I am still a veteran. Today I want to talk to you and encourage you to learn about the sacrifices and the stories that veterans have to tell about how they protect you and your country. Veterans Day is a day to remember the veterans who survived and came back home. My favorite definition of a veteran is someone who wrote a blank check made payable to the United States of America, to all of us, for an amount up to and including their life. Some cash the check for the full amount and they do not get to return home to their families. Some get to come home, but the payment is still significant and they are severely wounded. These people are your true heroes, and we honor them on this day. It's a privilege to be involved in this ceremony. Today I want to talk to you about the stories of sacrifice that are made by the veterans who have returned to our country from wars overseas. Because even though most of those veterans may not be asked to make the ultimate sacrifice, the check that they wrote to us as a country is always cashed. The only difference is the amount that is asked. In relation to others, my sacrifice is small. I was not married at the time, so I never had to spend any time away from my family. I had to spend a few Thanksgivings and Christmases eating in chow halls instead of at the family table. And I spent a lot more time laying in foxholes at dusk and dawn than I ever wanted to. You look at me, you don't see that I bear the scars of military service. They're not obvious to most. But after 4 years of sitting in military vehicles, it did no favors for my hearing. And my wife often has to remind me to turn down the TV or the radio in my truck so that, the people that haven't been sitting in those vehicles can hear. 10 weeks of drill sergeants at Fort Leonard Wood rushing me through my meals means that even when I get on an airplane and fly 1,000 miles away to savor a $200 a plate meal at a 5-star restaurant, I'll still be done eating in about 15 minutes. I sprained my ankle just walking down the sidewalk every couple of years, and I must wear a walking boot for 6 to 8 weeks, the result of thousands of miles of running and a torn ligament from an unfortunate training accident. And I will give my wife and my son a lecture on physical security anytime I discover an unlocked door at our house, reminding them to be a lion and not a lamb. Something that was driven into my head by a platoon sergeant over 20 years ago. And I even wear out the soles of my shoes differently than most people because I can't make a right or a left turn without doing a proper facing movement like I was marching in a parade with full honors. My bill was small, though. and I would not give up the experience and the honor of serving my country to change any of it. This is a small part of my story of service and sacrifice, but every veteran has one, and I encourage you to reach out to the veterans in your life and discover theirs. Sadly, members of the greatest generation that served in World War II will not be with us forever. We need to learn all we can about their selfless service. What was it like to serve in Vietnam, Korea, the Cold War, Desert Storm, Iraq, or Afghanistan? If you don't ask and they don't share these stories, they won't be remembered. Sharing a story of your service, veterans, will help your loved ones know why you think the way that you do. And face it, if you were in the military, you probably think a lot differently than most people. After 10 years of my wife silently stewing about the fact that I didn't help pack our son's suitcase, she finally mentioned something about it to me. And after 25 years after basic training, I realized I was still falling back on my training. Namely, square yourself away first, and then help your comrades. I didn't realize that I was treating a trip to Grandma's house the same way I treated a bivouac. It might explain why my in-laws thought it was strange that I slept in a pup tent on the front yard. So I encourage you to talk to veterans. Maybe they learned about their training. Maybe they learned a skill that you don't know about. Ask them about their great accomplishments. Maybe they won a Medal of Valor for some heroic deed. Ask them what they are most proud of. Maybe they saved a life. Ask them about their regrets. Maybe they joined the Marine Corps. I'm just kidding, Marines. I hope you guys had a great birthday yesterday. And on a serious note, there is one final story of sacrifice that I want to talk to you about today. And that is the sacrifice that is still ongoing here in our homeland. I am talking about the invisible scars that some of our comrades in arms struggle with today. It is a sad statistic that 20 veterans a day die by their own hands here in our country because they have difficulty coping with their military experience. But it is true. What I am encouraging you to do today might be the best way to stop that epidemic. Ask your veterans how they feel about their service. Maybe talking about it will remove a burden. Ask them if you can learn about what they went through. Maybe it will change a perspective. Ask them about their fellow service members. Maybe it will rekindle a good memory. Ask them if they need your help. Maybe it will help save a life. In the coming years, some of you young people will join those of us who came before and join the military themselves and continue the American tradition of offering to make the ultimate sacrifice. And I will gladly welcome you into the ranks of fellow veterans with open arms. I know full well, as I look across this room, that the future of our country is in good hands, and I look forward to hearing your stories. Thank you all for coming today to pay tribute to veterans, both those that gave some and who we see in our communities and in this very room, and especially those who gave all. We will never forget you. Happy Veterans Day. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Mr. Melhoff, and thank you for your message. We will now be entertained by the middle and high school chorus singing For Spacious Skies, followed by a poem entitled They Did Their Share by Joanna Fuchs. Elementary students reciting the poem are James Fosham, Violet Jacobs, Johnny Melhoff, Gabby Leach, Lillian Luce, and Kyle Krieger.
On Veterans Day, we honor soldiers who protect our nation.
For their service as our warriors, they deserve our admiration.
Some of them were drafted, some were volunteers.
For some, it was just yesterday. For some, it's been years. We owe so much to them, who kept us safe from terror.
So when we see a uniform, let's say thank you to every wearer.
Thank you, students. At this time, we will recognize the 5 branches of the armed services by playing their hymns. If you are currently serving in uniform, are a veteran, or are family or of a service member, please feel free to stand and be recognized when your hymn is played.
United States Marine Corps. United States Army. United States Coast Guard. The United States Air Force. The United States Navy.
Thank you, veterans. Thank your families. Thank you for your service and your sacrifice to our country. Please give a warm welcome to our new middle high school principal, Mr. James Cutshaw, as he educates us on the meaning of taps, followed by the playing of that song.
Thank you. The 24-note melancholy bugle call, known as taps, is thought to be a revision of a French bugle signal that was referred to as tattoo. That song of tattoo notified soldiers to cease an evening of drinking and return to their garrisons. It was sounded an hour before the final bugle call to end the day by extinguishing fires and lights. The last 5 measures of tattoo resemble what we know today as taps. The revision that gave us the President taps was made during the American Civil War by Union General Daniel Adams Butterfield. Up to that time, the United States Army infantry call to end the day was the French final call known as La Extinction des Feux. And for those who speak French, sorry for butchering that one. General Butterfield decided the lights out music of the French call was way too formal for the signal of the end of the day. So one day in July of 1862, he recalled the tune of Tattoo and that music, and he hummed it aloud to an aide. That aide wrote down the music. Butterfield then asked Brigadier Bugler, or the Brigade Bugler, Oliver Norton, to play the notes. After listening, lengthening, and shortening some of the notes here and there, they came up with this original melody. He ordered that Norton play this new call at the end of each day thereafter. The music was heard and appreciated by other brigades, who asked for copies of the music and adapted that bugle call as their own. It was even adopted by soldiers of the Confederate buglers. The music was made the official Army bugle call after the war, but was not given the name taps until 1874. The first time taps was played at a military funeral may also have been in Virginia soon after Butterfield composed it. Union Captain John Tidball, head of an artillery battery, ordered it played for the burial of a cannoneer killed in action. Not wanting to reveal the battery's position in the woods for the enemy nearby, Tidball substituted taps for the traditional 3 rifle volleys fired over the grave. Taps was played at the funeral of Confederate General Stonewall Jackson 10 months after it was composed. It was in 1891 that the Army infantry regulations required taps to be played for all military funeral ceremonies. Taps is now played by the military at burial and memorial services to accompany the lowering of the flag and to signal lights out, the command that ends the day.
Thank you, Mr. Cutshaw. Thank you, Post 20. Please stay standing as we observe the retiring of the colors, led by the American Legion Color Guard. We wish to thank all of you for attending our services today, especially a thank you to the veterans and their families. We hope that you all have a safe and wonderful Veterans Day. Thank you very, very much. Middle school, high school people, would you please wait until the little children are gone? Enjoy your day, everyone. Thank you.